But if you think of it more holistically from a signaling standpoint, you're sending two signals. You want me, and I want you. Okay? It takes two parties to make an exchange. Mm-hmm. And so if you send those two signals, you're making that exchange easier for the employer to make. You want me, I'm qualified, I've got these skills, and I want you. You're not just one of 100 places that I'm applying to. I've done your company research. I've thought of some questions. I've found a place where I can fit in your company and add value from day one.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm going to be talking with Dr. Hall here about his 7 years of experience conducting mock interviews with his students at High Point University. So, Dr. Hall, tell us what's kind of a highlight reel. What's going on with this whole process?
Sure. So I work under the Phillips School of Business, and our mission is to prepare students to become tomorrow's business professionals. And one of our mottos is placement, 100% placement, it's everyone's business. And so all the full-time faculty since 2013 have interviewed about 4 to 5 students for their mock interviews every semester. And so I've interviewed about 10 students every year for the past 7 years. And what they do is they take on the full character of looking for a job. I take on the character of the potential employer. They send me a professionally written email along with their resume and cover letter. And then I review those materials using a rubric. And then they come into my office and we do the actual mock interview. And then afterwards I go over what went well, how they presented themselves, would they even gotten the interview, and then how they could improve the interview itself as well as the follow through.
So are there any common mistakes that you're seeing? So wait, I guess let's back up before we get into that. So you've done 70 mock interviews at this point?
Yes.
Wow. That's a pretty big use case right there. Like, you've seen probably some trends develop. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So you want to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, all of our High Point University students are extraordinary, okay? And they definitely are by the time they graduate. It's just that this is an unfamiliar environment for someone in their early 20s. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of them can come into it not exactly prepared. And so they either would not read all the rubrics, and then they would not know what the expectations were of being successful, or they would do really good in the interview, but they would not have gotten the interview because of the negative signals that their application materials would send. So it's very rare that a student doing a mock interview will get everything right. There's always something to do, and this is why mock interviews are so important, is because there are learning opportunities that you want to learn in a safe environment, not when it really counts.
Really? I feel like I learned by trial by fire.
Well, you don't know how many trials you're going to get, so... And when you're on the job market, you want to have as many positive trials as you can to give yourself the best alternatives.
Right. I realize I'm probably the exception to the rule, because that's how I learned, or how I launched my consulting agency, is I just turned my internship into my first consulting client and then just kind of pitch clients over and over and over again. So I've got quite a bit of experience on that. But to relate it kind of back to my world in Greensboro College, we're starting to do a kind of a new little, I guess it would be a exercise where we'll go over a business case study, and then I'll pull I'll pull a chair up to the front of the room and call it the hot seat, and we'll have them go through and explain this as if they were talking or asked about this in an interview.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, I'm seeing quite a few things right off the bat. And I will say this, I only have 7 students in my cohort right now, so it's a much smaller use case than what you're dealing with. But the number one thing I'm seeing is that students are kind of uncomfortable tuning their own horn. So they don't want to talk positively about themselves because they feel like they're gloating or they're being boastful. Mm-hmm. And I think that there is a fine line between that. So you can go too far and kind of look like an idiot because, hey, listen, you're a student, you haven't done any like real huge wins in your career. So saying like, I am going to turn this company around as an entry-level analyst is a little bit too far. But that being said, saying positive things about yourself is not going to, I don't know, come off as arrogant.
Well, definitely you want to be confident. Okay. You don't want to come off as arrogant though either. Everything there's a balance. Yeah, as we like to say in economics. I think it's good that you're putting your students in the hot seat. And part of the challenge with the mock interviews is that if they haven't had an internship before, this is like the first time that they were in the hot seat.
Right.
And so they are getting a trial by fire. It's just they're not going to have any third-degree burns from it. So, so you've got this situation where they have to talk about themselves and sell themselves for the first time. And that feels very awkward, and that awkwardness shows. And so practicing makes perfect. And there's a lot of things to think about. And so what I do during the debriefing is I try to simplify it to signaling. And I just say, all right, here's these rubrics that we've distributed you. There's like 16 things that we grade you on. And that's just for your cover letter. And we do that for your resume and the mock interview. And then we even go through when we do your LinkedIn profile checklist. And that's a lot to keep up with. But if you think of it more holistically from a signaling standpoint, you're sending two signals. You want me, and I want you. Okay? It takes two parties to make an exchange. And so if you send those two signals, you're making that exchange easier for the employer to make. You want me, I'm qualified, I've got these skills, and I want you. You're not just one of 100 places that I'm applying to. I've done your company research. I've thought of some questions. I've found a place where I can fit in your company and add value from day one. And if you think about those two things, all the details can kind of just wash away. So you just think of like, I want you and you want me. And if you can send both of those signals on that final question, do you have any questions for us? Most students in the mock interview, this is where they fail. Okay? They are so terrified of doing the mock interview that they just want to get the thing over with. And so 8 times out of 10, they say no. But this is your last opportunity to leave a lasting impression. And so if you can come up with a question that sends the signal, you want me and I want you, then you are golden.
That's pretty powerful. I'm still digesting that. Do you have any examples, by the way?
Okay, so let's say I want to work for Silvertone Analytics. Okay? You could say, I've already got my Tableau Desktop Specialist certification. Do you have any more training opportunities during this internship?
And that's fascinating. So that does multiple things there.
Yeah.
So it shows that I've already done the work and I've already made myself valuable to you. And you're seeing Silvertone, so Silvertone's my company, as a conduit to kind of further grow. So basically you guys would be growing together. So you're kind of like, instead of it being adversarial of, you know, what's in it for me, what can I get out of you, or vice versa. It's like you guys have come to the same side of the table and you're working together.
Yeah, and that's not even like the best question you can send. Like I was just put on the spot there.
Yeah.
But the idea is that I would have done more research about your company.
Okay.
And I would say something like, okay, I saw that you worked with Wrangler jeans. Is there a way that I can get my hands on some of that data? Because I'd really like to train myself in Power BI because I've had some experience with Tableau, but I can see a lot of other consulting companies are also working with Power BI because that's what their clients are using because they're with Microsoft. And so you can show that you've really done your homework and that you've already got some skills that you're interested in leveraging that's going to give you more opportunities to grow in the company.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that podcast episode. And I thank you so much for being on. I mean, I feel like fun. 70 mock interviews is just a wealth of knowledge. So feel free to reach out to Dr. Hall on LinkedIn or leave a comment on this video because you actually watch all of our videos and leave comments.
I'm a fan.
So don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell if you want notifications from our podcast. Thanks for tuning in.